We are the Group 11 and we will discuss the KAPA investment scam. So, I am Jericho Siban and some of you here knows KAPA investment scam or alam ito ng mga magulang or tita-tito dahil ang iba ay nakapag-invest dahil malaking halaga raw ang mababalik kung makukuha nila dito. Ngunit sa kasamang palad ay maraming tawang na scam ng investment na ito. So, first, I'm going to discuss the KAPA scheme is an investment contract. So, what is investment contract? So, let me define first. So, an investment contract is a contract, transaction, or scheme whereby a person invests money in a common enterprise and is led to expect profits from the effort of others. So, the arrangement between KAPA and its member partakes of an investment contract. The four elements laid down in the decision of Supreme Court in the case Power Homes Unlimited Corporation versus Security Exchange Commission. So, what are the four elements? So, first is money is invested. So, nag-invest sila ng money and makukuha rin nila ay pera. Then, money investment is placed in a common enterprise. So, yun nag-invest sila sa KAPA. So, there is expectation of profit. So, yung expectation nila yung profit, yung mababalik sa kanila times 2, times 3, times 5 ng kanilang gi-invest sa KAPA. Then, the profit is derived primarily from the efforts of others. So, efforts of others kasi nag-invest lang naman sila, wala silang ginagawa kundi maghintay lang ng
The Howey Test. In order for the Securities and Exchange Commission, or the SEC, to identify whether the KAPA scheme qualifies as an investment contract, they applied the Howey Test, which is introduced by the U.S. Supreme Court. Note that an investment contract exists if there is an investment of money in a common enterprise with a reasonable expectation of profit to be derived primarily from the efforts of others. In the Howey Test, there are 4 criteria that a contract, transaction, or scheme should meet in order to determine whether there exists an investment contract. These are: number 1, investment in money; second, in a common enterprise; third, expectation of profit; and the last one, primarily from the efforts of others. First, the investment in money. In the KAPA scheme, before an individual becomes a member, he or she should invest a quote-unquote donation worth at least 10,000. The individual could invest more than the said amount, but it should not be lower than 10,000. Second, in a common enterprise. Before KAPA became one of the biggest Ponzi scams in our country, it was initially registered as a religious organization and a domestic non-stock corporation last March 3, 2017. The name in which it was registered is KAPA Community Ministry International. The third one is the expectation of profit. After a member of the organization, or the so-called member donor, invests money or donates an amount not lesser than 10,000 to KAPA, he or she should expect a return of 30% of the amount donated that is received every month for life. This return is referred to as a love gift or a blessing in the name of God by the said organization. And lastly, it should be primarily from the efforts of others. The member donors of KAPA are not required to do anything other than to invest in the organization and wait for the monthly return of their invested amounts.
Everyone. So, KAPA scheme is an affinity fraud, When we say affinity fraud, it is not the usual fraud that we used to know, like the misleading of financial statement or information, but rather it refers to investment scams where offenders take advantage of their likeness to identifiable groups such as religious organizations or pretend to belong to the same group to earn the trust of their victims and prey upon them. So in the case of KAPA, they did not mislead any financial statements or information, but rather they took advantage of their religious organizations to earn the trust of the people, uh, and to make people believe that if they invest in their organizations, they will get a high return of investment like 30% without the need of any effort. So that's the fraud that occurred in the case of KAPA. So KAPA scheme is an ultra-virus act. It is an exercise of a corporate power other than those conferred by Republic Act number 11232 or the Revised Corporation Code of the Philippines and by the Corporation's Article of Incorporation. So when we say ultra-virus act, it is committed outside the object for which a corporation is created as defined by the law of its organizations and therefore beyond the express, implied, and incidental powers of corporation. And the Articles of Incorporation is the fundamental document on which the existence of the corporation is based in the basic charter of the corporation. So technically, KAPA scheme act outside the scope of those uh, articles of incorporation.
As early as 2017, the Security of Exchange Commission already issued an advisory against KAPA. It was only in February 2019 that the Commission issued a cease and desist order and eventually a revocation order in April. In June 4, the Court of Appeals issued a freeze order on KAPA's assets. The National Bureau of Investigation already conducted a simultaneous raids on some of KAPA's headquarters in the regions. And on July 21, 2020, Pastor Joel Apolinario, the organization's leader, was arrested in a joint operation by the PNP, National Intelligence Coordinating Council, Philippine Army, and Philippine Coast Guard in an isolated resort, Ilingig, Surigao del Sur. The operation was based on a search warrant issued by the Cantillan, Surigao del Sur Regional Trial Court, Branch 41 for the violations of Republic Act number 10591 or the Comprehensive Law on Firearms and Ammunition, and Republic Act number 9516, the Law on Illegal or Unlawful Possession of Explosives. The operation also carried out the warrant of arrest issued by the RTC Cagayan de Oro City Branch 21 for the syndicated estafa case filed against Apolinario. Apolinario and 25 others were arrested following an encounter between the law enforcers and Apollinario's private army, wherein a member of Apolinario was killed, and during the operations, high-powered firearms were seized.